Okay, so let's do a quick recap of the round 10 candidates, and we'll do some predictions for the round 11 right before the Title Tuesday starts. Alright, so let's go into the games. Prague versus Viditz. It was a very quiet draw, nobody wants to take the risk. They are very friendly. Berlin. Again, very solid Spanish line. It's very hard for black to lose this. The idea is simple: knight goes to e6, prevents f4, potentially knight goes to d4, white probably takes the bishop to eliminate the pair of bishops and try to play for a small advantage. The idea of queen d2 is to prepare f4 after the trade, f6, black prepares for f4. Also potentially this square is very useful. If black wants to be aggressive, he can play b6, bishop b7, g5, h5 and try to long castle, but that's very sharp. Queen takes, because a pawn takes, then you have d4, and a little bit better for white due to this d5 possibilities attacking this pawn. Black is probably will have to trade here twice, which is also very likely to be very equal, because if you hit this guy, there is always d8, and there are not too many pieces left, which is why the attack here is not going to probably work. And black also has some chances here. So, yeah, but black takes with the queen also makes a lot of sense. Now he's ready to play c5, completely stop all this. If knight e2, black can play c5, but that kind of allows f4. So he plays b6, prepares for the potential bishop here or here development, f4, trade, c5, very solid, queen f2. Not sure why, but okay. Preparing for the short castle, I guess. Massive trades. Safer king is on the queen side than on the king side, so that's why the castle here, white castle's here. Because if you castle here, there's some queen e5 unpleasantness, potential pawn breaks. So king b8, and black king is very, very safe. It's very hard to get through this pawn chain. Black just goes a5, and if you have to do any breaks, you'll have to do like c3, d4, b4, which will open this bishop, and white does obviously not want to open this bishop. Rook e1, bishop f5, just offering the queen trade, which basically says I'm okay with the draw. Black can trade, but it's a little minuscule endgame. It's not that great. h6, again, very, very solid. Bishop is transferred. Now finally the queen trade is forced, and the game is just a draw because nobody wants to take risks. White cannot. The only thing white can do is probably go for e5, but even here you just can trade everything and play g6, and it's opposite color bishops, so it's not much you can do. Bishop g7, probably even h5 here. I'm actually not sure about king here. Could be bishop e8, why not? And h5. Very, very reasonable. Protect the pawn. Now it's everything is equal. The king goes to d7 to protect this bishop. King g5. Maybe even king d6, yeah. And actually black now can be better because the bishop comes to this pawn chain. Okay, so white cannot play too much for an advantage here. So in the game they played king c6, rook f2, and just threefold repetition. Again, very solid, nothing here. Next game was this one. Nepo played Gukish, and Gukish surprised Nepo with this 97 line. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, guys, I'm doing the recap for the YouTube, so I'm not gonna answer your questions on the chat. Okay, sorry about that. All right. So 97. This is recently became very popular modern line, championed by a lot of Indian players. The idea is that black protects this guy, potentially knight goes to g6, which the knight goes there usually as well, to protect the pawn chain and also to assist in the central d5 pawn push. So never plays d4 after this move. According to the engine, white doesn't have lower advantage, and black plays knight c6, and the idea is if you take on c6, it's actually Berlin, which is a decent version for black. So, but if white queen moves, then black cannot develop the pieces. Bishop here. Bishop d6 is also possible. Like yesterday, I had a game with Simon where we had Budapest Gambit, and black played bishop here, then he went back, then bishop d6. And the idea is to develop both bishops on the diagonals here, put the rook on the e file, and threaten with the f5 or some action here. So bishop d6 is definitely possible. But bishop e7 is very solid, so there's nothing wrong with that. The problem for white, this is natural move, looks very natural, knight goes to d5, try to get better bishops. But the problem with this move is that black has knight a5. And white can get this bishop, but black gets this bishop. And just like in the game in Prague versus Vidit, we're going to have opposite color bishops, no weaknesses for both, for any side, and therefore the game is very likely to be equal. Apparently here bishop d7 immediately was possible, which would be actually not bad for black. Equal, but bishop d6 is also possible, because forcing bishop f4, you cannot play e5, yeah? Take, rook e8, pretty much. That's the nuance why white king is here. So bishop f4, but after that it's just massive trades. Black doesn't take on b3 first, he wants white rook to move here, and then you take, and then this pawn is not under attack. It's a nuance, but okay, h3. Again, knight e3 maybe is a little bit better, trying to force black actually to take this guy, and potentially knight can go to f5. But white is again very peaceful, he doesn't see a lot of advantage. The usual Nepo thing, trying to go for an attack, and sort of black is forced to do something. c5 is now apparently inaccurate. Should actually start trading stuff and going to the heavy pieces, which is equal. But c5 now gives white a chance. This is not it. c3 apparently first. Now rook g3, but it still looks like should be very close to a draw. But it's now getting very, very sharp. And the idea is, yeah, but still, after all the trades, white must take on g6, take, king f8, and rook goes a7, protects everything. And actually white is maybe actually a little bit worse, because if knight gets back into the game, it's just piece up for black. So okay, c5, forcing this, rook g3, king h8, king f8, maybe a little bit safer, but king h8 is pretty safe too. Now c3, and you gotta take, because if bishop gets to c2 with this king, yeah, you don't want that. Queen d7, playable, b4, trying to fix this pawn here, makes sense. Queen takes, centralization, and now the queen trades, sure. Absolutely equal position, probably just take on d4, rook d4, a5, and black is a little bit better actually, but rook e2 immediately is also not bad. Fixing the pawns, white gets active, and now we have massive trades, and it's a dead draw. Alright, so two very, very solid games. Now we get to the games where we have some craziness, the decisive games. Both Americans won this round, they both moved to +1 within the striking distance of the leaders. So suddenly Fabi and Nakamura, the pre-tournament favorites, they are, you know, back in the action with the chance. So, this game, pretty good game actually. Alireza plays Najdorf. Fabiano's prepared, rook g1, rare, but used to be main line. h5 is kind of weird, but okay, makes sense because you stop g4, and h5 is actually pretty standard in a lot of Najdorf positions. The only drawback of this move is that this square now of white pieces is very solid. So bishop c4 is kind of unusual. Yeah, I don't recall seeing this. Bishop c4 with the structure with the pawn h5. Interesting. g6 going to the dragon. The b5, bishop b3, e6 would be transposition to the Vilimirovich attack, like Sozin mix, but with the long castle. That's the difference. And yeah, that would definitely weird. The idea is that black is going to try to to change this guy, and white will try to push the pawns here. Some sacrifices, typical Vladimir stuff. But g6, interesting. Yeah, I think white is better here, but queen a5 is one of those ideas. There is this idea. It's pretty common, of course, in the dragon, accelerated dragon, but it does look kind of strange a little bit. But the idea is now that after knight c6, you can take and play bishop h6, yeah. And now black is okay. But we have some weird stuff going on here. Bishop e6. And both players now miss that you can take. I'm pretty sure commentators covered it. It's a very unusual theme because you have the checkers now, yeah. Black takes, and both knights are hanging and you win the piece. But if you don't take here with the knight, you must take with the pawn. That kind of leaves you with the triple pawns, and this pawn structure is absolutely horrible for black. So this is very bad. And Fabi could have played this and probably won much earlier. But okay, bishop e2 is still something for white, but now Alireza starts to play inaccurately. Yeah, he plays this. There is no reason to play this. I actually agree with the engine. This is a good trade for black. You eliminate your bad bishop for a pretty good knight, and there are no weaknesses for black anymore. Then you try to... I don't see how white can improve his position actually here. Yes, he can put the knight on d5, he can play f4, g3, all that stuff. But the critical square here is taken care of. And if you play f5, then knight goes to e5, obviously. And also black can think of playing e6. If black can play e6 and put the king on e7, he is absolutely okay. Plus, don't forget, this is double pawn. It's not so great. All right, so a little more space for whites. Pair of rooks with the bishop, centralized knights. Definitely, white is a little bit better, but black doesn't have any weaknesses, and most importantly, his bad bishop is gone. So that was one of the most logical ways to play. He plays king f8, avoids the sort of knight d5 potential checks. So knight d4, white immediately seizes upon the chance not to allow the trade of this bad bishop. So that makes sense. Probably this is not so bad, but okay, it's playable. Rook c8. Yeah, I think you need to take this queen anyway, so why not take it right now? Because now at least you have a choice. You can move the knight here, sort of king here, and play f6. And then this is playable. Definitely black is a little bit worse because the bishop is very strong, but I don't see immediate win for white. It is unpleasant, yes, the pawn islands are here. White has definitely better chances, but it's not so easy to win this. I mean, you gotta take on g5 sooner or later anyway, so sooner is probably better. Rook c8, he's trying to activate his pieces first before taking, but now you take, and now there's a problem. Because if knight moves here, now there is rook f1, and there's this threat which forces black to play this maybe. And then we have the standard dragon stuff, yeah. This pawn is being hit thanks to the spin. Huge problems for black. So that's why he plays knight g4. This is pretty much the only move. Rook f1, again, threatening f5, very good. Bishop d7, logical. King d2, taking away the square from the knights. White pieces are very harmonious, okay? Pawns on the dark squares, a lot of black pawns are on the light squares, the same as the bishop. King is very close to the center, much better than this king. Knight has great future on d5. This guy is really an outsider. So black is worse. Black is really worse. So bishop c6 looks logical, trying to trade this knight on d5 whenever it comes into the game. Yeah, it's okay, it's fine. Knight d5. And this is kind of a weird move. Very, very strange move. Yeah, okay, so let's take the elephant out of the room. Again, if we trade this guy, white can actually take with this pawn, yeah? Because now this guy is in trouble. This guy is in trouble, has no moves, and now white can hit this pawn, potentially go for the a5, b4, okay, a5 first, then b4, then push for the c5 break. And once you play c5, the threat is c6. You grab this pawn and the a pawn becomes very, very dangerous. So taking on d5 is possible, but okay, it's not that great. So the question is what black could do here, and the answer is maybe you can play e5. Maybe you can play e5, because if you take, black rooks are finally active and starts attacking, so black is good. So you don't want to take this knight, yeah? But if you don't take this knight, you must probably... I don't actually like taking here because knight on e5 is now very, very strong. Very strong. Probably still better for white after this. Yeah, you hit this weakness. And knight can also always go back, so the second rook hits it. And it's unclear how black can play here. Probably king e3. Because if you take knight here, rook d5, king here, c4, knight must go. So the question is, what is this position? Probably black can defend. Yeah, but now this rook takes away the square from the knights. White can play e5. Still, yeah, h4 is correct. If rook d6, the problem with rook d6 is that there is now this tactic, yeah? This is the tactic, because white wins the pawn, and this kind of important pawn. So, still, white is always better in this position, yeah? Very annoying advantage for white. I mean, annoying white's advantage for black. So, yeah, f5 is an attempt to radically change the pawn structure, try to make use of this knight, undermine the whole knight pawn thing here in the center. Very interesting. If you take, knight takes, take on d6, take on e4. If you take on f6, king g7, black takes on g2. So probably bishop here, but you can still take this because rook f6, king e7, rook e1. Now the threat is to take both pawns, and it looks kind of weird, but after rook h6 maybe black is okay. Yeah, so that's an idea. Okay, so Fabi actually takes on f6, but you can also take here probably. Yeah, the point is black now has more operating space. Potentially he can fight for a central advantage. Yeah, if black can get king to f7, e6, he's absolutely fine because this passed pawn doesn't do much. Suddenly this knight could be strong and protected. So this is very interesting, but requires analysis of the bishop d3. e6 looks logical, but then knight b6, d8, and rook e1. Again, thanks to the spin, a lot of things are happening, and the key line is probably this, yeah, h4. This is probably the key line, because now white must give up his rook. Grab. Apparently 97 check is important. King f7. King g7 runs into a mate suddenly. Ah, wow, that's pretty. Alright, so king f7. Same idea, g6. Almost the same, no? Now you take king g7, rook e7 mate, king f7, check, king g7 mate, king g8, check, here, check, here. Now I gotta take this finally. Yeah, this is engine line, of course. I'll not be able to see all this stuff. And apparently this is playable, but white is a little bit better. Because you can trade and maybe grab this pawn. But if you do that, then it's equal, yeah. So this is actually a critical move. Yeah, this move is amazing. Yeah, this is engine stuff. And again, it's only minuscule advantage. So this was a very interesting line. I'm pretty sure players saw some of it, but not the whole thing. 5b just plays knight takes on f6 and c4. And that's Fabiano. Yeah, he just grabs the center. He has a little bit more space, more pressure. He's fine. And now this is absolutely unfathomable move to me. Like, you just managed to equalize, yeah? He got from worst position against one of the best endgame players in the world, Fabiano. Alireza equalized, and now he plays this move. My God, this is critical pawn, right? Because once this pawn falls, another pawn falls. Now the king is, I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, king f7, of course. King f7, and then black is okay. Yeah, it's incredible actually. Because white must play e5, there is nothing else. Now black has several moves. He can take with the bishop, but taking here like this makes more sense. Yeah, the only thing is don't play bishop e8. Yeah, it's too passive. Bishop b5 makes a lot of sense, and now we get the rook endgame, and rook b4 is always answered by rook c5, and black is better. Yeah, so black is actually, yeah, but yeah, you cannot get to this rook, okay? You cannot get to this rook. The only way is to play something like this. But even then, the second rook comes. Yeah, black is absolutely fine. That's absolutely incredible to me. I don't know what was the miscalculation, but in general, you cannot allow, you know, this very important pawn to fall. Yes, you get this pawn, but now, you know, everything is hanging, and black must be very accurate in his calculation. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't. Okay, rook e1. Again, very solid move. Just solid chess, yeah. No tactics, nothing. Just solid chess. Take, take. Bishop d3. Again, nice move. Hitting the weakness. This pawn is hanging, but if you play g3, then black probably can just play, yeah, question. Probably h4 actually, yeah. Because trade trades, and this pawn trade is good for black, but now black is fine. Rook is active, yeah. So that's why he plays bishop d3. Also doesn't want to allow black bishop on e4. That bishop would be very, very strong. And now we have a very interesting position. Yeah, this pawn is untouchable for now because of the pin. King cannot protect this guy because of the check. So black is faced with a dilemma what to do here. Yeah, if you play h4, then it's just a pawn, yeah. And bishop h3, and just extra pawn. So black must do something. So what does he do? He plays rook c f8, and apparently it's a wrong move. And it's not easy why this is correct, but the problem is that black has this, yeah. He counterattacks, and now the bishop, if the bishop trade, then you have this h-pawn, draw game. So just protect the d6 pawn, and now the king is ready to go to f6. And g3, king f6, maybe still a little bit better for white, but black pawns are like alive, and I don't know, I think even h4 here. This looks extremely drawish to me. Extremely drawish. Rook is active. You don't have to play d5. I mean, you can, but c5, but after d5 again, this is very strong formation. And it's very hard to dislodge this bishop because you need to, for that, you need to play a4, b4, b5, but obviously a4 pawn will be hanging. Yeah. Rook e5 is met by rook takes f4. Okay. And this looks equal. Yeah, so just protect the pawn, yeah. And he went rook f8, which is okay. But now rook f6 is correct. Again, black needs to get this g3, h4 stuff in. And now we have this absolutely incredible h4 move, yeah. He was down to 8 minutes, but that was more than 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah, this is critical position. And I don't understand how you cannot play this. This is the most logical thing ever. You take this critical pawn, you're also hitting a lot of stuff here, and black is completely okay. I just cannot understand, you know, Alireza, you know, he made a couple mistakes. Rook d6, and now bishop e4 or bishop g2 is coming. So, unbelievable. Plays h4, and it's unbelievable because, of course, 5e sees all these tactics. Rook e5, and now this is with the check, okay? Yeah, if you take and play rook d8 here, rook takes. And white actually keeps this pawn alive. King here, and he actually plays rook g6 and keeps this pawn alive too. So that was the big problem. Yeah, rook e5, I think he missed it, yeah. And after rook h5, of course, yeah, but 5 also makes a mistake. Yeah, but okay, it's not easy to see this idea, rook d8, bishop c4, rook g8, and protecting this pawn by activating the rook. But that's not just activating the rook, but also creating mating threats, okay? So that was interesting. Bishop f1 just protects the pawn, very solid move also, of course. Grab, rook h8, king f6 is a little bit better first. Also inaccurate by Fabi. Bishop d3, hitting this pawn with the check, or rook f5 again idea, yeah. Check, because king g7 now, not king f7. Yeah, king g7, king in the dark square, because if bishop moves, then you can grab this guy. Alright, so let's see, what's the idea? Like if you play king here, then rook d8, and the threat is bishop d5, and you hit this guy. So white is not really in time here. Yeah, you can take the pawn on f5, but you know, this is very drawish. So that's how black could defend. Very complicated, but both guys have 2 minutes and 1 minute. This is extremely complicated endgame. Very, very complicated. They have to make 6-7 moves in a very sharp position where every nuance is critical. It can go from draw to win to draw, yeah? And 1 minute and 2 minutes, even for the top players, especially when they're so stressed out, it's incredibly difficult. So rook d8, yeah, this is crazy. You had to play king g7. The threat is bishop g2. And I think Alireza forgot that king can just move here. And now white protects the pawn. The rook protects this pawn, and white is completely winning. This is actually the losing move. The losing move. The king g7 must be played because you hit this guy, and white don't have time for this, okay? Yeah, check, but then back here. If rook e2, then you play rook d8, okay? Yes, white can protect his pawns like this, but after rook d7, the idea is rook g7, king e1, rook g7, king f1, but rook is now a little bit passive. So that could be the difference, although it's still better for white, yeah. Bishop c4, a5, now rook e2 runs into bishop e4. Oh, actually there's rook g4 idea, okay. Yeah, so advantage white, but you know, black is not completely lost. Still some play. And the way he plays rook d8, and after king 1 is just game over. Because king is here, protected the pawn, rook is untouchable, and the pawn f5 is also gone. Bishop c4 is a threat, rook c7, rook trades, and it's a simple win for Fabi. King goes to h3 and gets this pawn. I mean, pawn trade, yeah, but if the bishop moves, then the b pawn moves. So, amazing endgame play by Fabiano, posing a lot of problems for Alireza. And yeah, Alireza finally made a mistake again in time trouble, yeah, time trouble. That's why guys don't get in time trouble. Easier said than done, of course. And we have this crazy game between Naka and Abasov. So, looks quiet, Petrov, symmetrical. Okay, now it looks like exchange French. c3, all right, there's such a move, and c4. Yeah, that's now a Sicilian pawn structure with the bishop on d6 and h3 stops bishop g4. Not sure why you need it, but okay, it makes sense. yeah, Nepo played like b3 here and then went for c4, knight c3, right? That was some game he played. But Naka goes for the bishop g5 plan. And the idea is he is going to play this like a London. Yeah, I haven't seen Naka play London a lot, but you know, we played so many games with him. This is like reverse London. And I usually, you know, start hitting some of his pawns, undermine stuff, close games, you know, a lot of draws in our games, a lot of fight also. But it's kind of nice to see him play this on the correct side of the London system. All right, 95. Advantage white, yeah. Beautiful bishops. Very strong knight outpost, and now we have potential attack. So several ideas. Queen can go to a3, hit this guy, threaten to double the pawns, yeah, and then the other knight goes to attack d5. So the whole point for white is now to hit this guy. That means usually knight goes to e3. Do you want to play f4? It's possible, okay? f4 and then queen f3, because then you also get the chance to play g4, g5. Yeah, this thing is like extremely dangerous for black. Bishop c7, okay. Yeah, so I'm curious, like, what happens if you actually play f4? Okay, I see. Black wants to play knight e7, put this guy to e5, d6, e4, but you stop g4. And I don't see how black can hold this actually, because you don't have b4 anymore, yeah? There's always this famous idea. I mean, if you want to play b4, you play it here. But even then, queen f3, yeah? Queen f3, probably rook b6, trying to take rook b2. Maybe just rook a b1, a4. Yeah, but then you can probably take here. And yeah, you can probably even play g5. Pretty sure. Oh, okay, g5 is not reasonable. Queen g2 first, right? Queen g2, prepare for this. And also knight is coming. Yeah, white has extremely strong attack. Extremely strong attack. So f4 is definitely playable. He plays queen f3. It's also very logical, again. That's why black put the rook on a6, yeah? So he can play knight e7. Rook protects this knight. And now white can either... Usually you should double the rooks here. So this knight, you threaten this knight. Okay, knight c4, rook e7 stuff. And b3 is not wow. Yeah, that's the only gripe that I have with Naka's playing this game. I mean, black wants to play b4 himself anyway, so why would he want to play b3, right? So just play rook e2, double the rooks, hit this guy. Black has serious problems holding both knights together. If he plays rook e8, rook e1, b4, for example, there's always bishop a4, you know, like this move. And if rook goes here, okay, so the idea is knight c4, knight g6, you hit here. Okay, so bishop c2 back, rook e8, protecting the knight. Okay, fine, knight goes to f1. Okay, knight goes to f1, just as I said, knight goes to e3 or goes to g3. You know, the difference in the bishops and pieces is incredible. Black is very, very passive. Okay, so he can grab this pawn, play rook b6. But now everything is ready, yeah? Everything is ready for knight g4. Again, this knight, yeah, as I said, it's very hard for black to protect everything. So this guy is now attacked. If you take on g4, there's rook e7, and you can resign, yeah? Take, because you win the piece. So, but if you take with the bishop, take with the pawn, pair of bishops, this g5 looks very, very strong. Black has to play this, but then you play this. And look at this position. Look at the black king. A lot of great squares, passive knights. This is very close to winning for white, okay? So, yeah, so, I don't know. This is kind of weird, yeah? I mean, Naka usually doesn't play this kind of structure, so... But rook e2 is very logical. Okay, so he plays b3, a4. Also not bad. Rook a b1 makes a lot of sense. Take over the file first. Knight f1 is okay, but okay, rook b1, okay, bishop, rook e6, very strange move. Very, very strange move. But again, maybe he wanted to protect this guy, yeah? and also prevent knight e3 because he thinks he can take on e5. Knight e3 is actually regardless because this bishop trade is good for white. Yeah, this is very good trade. Now look at black king, completely unsafe. So the point is, if queen f6, then knight g6, yeah. But you don't have to play like this, yeah. You can play rook ed1 because you need this rook on the open file, and then, you know, just play for the weaknesses, yeah. This is massive weaknesses, permanent weaknesses. Big advantage for white. So knight e3 is playable, and the idea is then you're ready to play it again, either knight g4. Yeah, probably this knight g4 because you want to eliminate defenders of this pawn and hit this guy. So knight e3 is what I'm thinking. Knight g4 is also not bad. Queen e8. Yeah, black is lost, to be honest. And this is again, it's possible. Yeah, he wants to trade this. Potentially, he wants to attack this guy. Difference in the bishops. But this bishop on h4 is actually pretty strong. So why not hit this pawn here? Yeah, that's a big question. That is a big question. So he's probably was thinking about this move. He's probably thinking about this move. And now white has a choice. He can play rook ed1 and go after this pawn, or play rook c1 and protect this guy. Yeah. I think both moves are okay. Rook d1 is probably makes more sense. I mean, again, the idea is you want to take this, yeah, and then completely winning. So black cannot allow that. He must play g5, bishop g3, and now either queen c6, because if you take here, knight actually can grab this one. And pair of bishops, open king, weaknesses, advantage white, big advantage. Okay, so queen c6 most likely. Now knight goes to f5, perfect knight, yeah. And probably bishop c7. Yeah, but this is much better version of what Naka wanted to get in the game. I think this is much better version. Because what he got, he played bishop g3. Now black plays this, take. Okay, oh yeah, this is where he made a mistake, right? He should have played this move. Because if black takes here, it looks pretty scary. But the problem here is that if white activates the queen thanks to this bishop cutting away this luft, white is just completely winning. And the knight has no moves because there is a mate threat. But if you try to defend against the mates, it's still queen d6. Again, the knight has no moves. Yeah, knight goes here and boom, everything is attacked. Yeah, it looks pretty scary that black can sack the queen, but it's actually a losing move. So you cannot do that. And if the queen moves, there is this check, take, and it's just, you know, completely winning for white. Yeah, so the only way to play is to play something like knight c8. And even here, knight e3, bishop d6. Yeah, this is kind of weird. Naka has 40 minutes here, yeah? And he thinks for 15 minutes and he plays this move. Yeah, I'm sure he saw rook b8. I'm not watching his recap, so I don't know he's thinking. Rook b7 is still not bad. But yeah, this is kind of too slow. Yeah, g5 immediately, I don't understand why not g5. Take, queen h5 obviously, yeah. And you must play f5. Oh, it's just a mate. Oh, okay. Wait, are you saying he missed that? There's no way he missed that. There is no way. Okay, so queen c6 should be played, yeah. Rook goes back, but now you're threatening actually to take and ruin his pawn structure, so he must take. f5. Yeah, but now you have this amazing squares. Yeah, knight is coming, bishop is coming. Do you worry about pawn like this? Nope, you don't, because the bishop now is unable to oppose this guy, which means there is massive attack coming. Queen e7, the only move. Okay, queen e3, bishop b2, knight h5 anyway. Probably rook f7, knight f4. Potentially, if white gets his heavy pieces here, black is dead. But, okay. Also, knight g6 and queen h3, right? Yeah, I mean, the attack is huge. If Naka played it, I'm pretty sure he wins much earlier. Alright, okay, fine. He plays bishop f4, he prepares g5. Yeah, that's, you know, every tempo in a position like this is important. Also, this is kind of weird move, because then he moves back. Yeah, he helps black to actually move the knight. Yeah, I don't understand this. And now black is fine. Black is actually fine. He just managed to, you know, get all his pieces back into the game, hit white stuff, and bishop g4, h5. Yeah, and just play knight g6. Yeah, black is better because white doesn't have an attack. Yeah, he wanted to play knight e3, but doesn't do anything. Bishop h2, rook here, queen d2, rook e2. Oh my god, black is close to winning now. Oh, he made a blunder. Wow, if he just plays bishop c7, black is much better, yeah? Okay, maybe not so much better. Take, and probably rook a8, yeah? Rook a8, h4, very unpleasant though, very unpleasant. Very unpleasant. So queen e7 is played with the idea of rook e1, but he misses bishop e5 in time trouble. Nice, and now white is much better again. Because this bishop is untouchable. He does so many things here. Yeah, disconnects this. Now this rook is in danger, you cannot take this pawn. Knight g3 is coming. Queen e6 and knight g3, and black loses in the exchange, yeah. He had to find this move. Had to find this move. Queen f4, rook c2, queen g4. There's mate threats. Bishop d8. Very sharp. Hard to say, okay. But okay, let's see what the game was. Queen e6, Naka grabs the file, the exchange. Yeah, and once that happens, black is completely lost. Because he plays queen e3, forces the queen trade, and the endgame, of course, he wins. Yeah, maybe the ancient can hold this endgame, but with this time trouble, it's very hard for black to play this. And Naka's endgame is really good, really good. Also one of the best, because he's very precise. Yeah, pawn moves immediately, correct. Pawn is absolutely unstoppable. Yeah, fantastic. Bishop f5, perfect. Yeah, perfect play by Nakamura in the endgame. Perfect. All right, amazing endgame performance. He tricked him in tactics. Pretty much standard Nakamura game. Okay, pretty much standard Nakamura game. All right, great performance by both Fabiano and Nakamura yesterday. Fully deserved wins. They move on very close to the leaders. Tomorrow we have the rounds. Let's see, Prague versus Nakamura. Probably going to be a very solid game. They both +1. Okay, Vidit versus Nepo. Vidit will try, but okay, it's very hard to beat Nepo in this tournament. It's not just Nepo has good prep, he plays well, but he's also very lucky. He survived quite a few bad positions, actually lost positions in the first stage. That means luck is on his side again. Gokirch versus Fabiano, important game. Fabi probably will try to win this with black, but not too many risks. He still has a chance because he has more whites. I mean, +1 people just need to win one more game to join the leaders, okay? And we have the game of the outsiders, Alireza versus Abbasov. Honestly, I think Alireza plays better, but Abbasov is not a pushover. The reason Abbasov is not doing well in this tournament because he is not that experienced at this level of the tournaments, and he is making mistakes, which are easily, you know, if he didn't make those mistakes, he could easily actually score points or, you know, make draws, okay? So it's just an experience thing for him. Otherwise, he would be at least like, you know, -1 or 50% in this tournament, which will be a very solid result. All right, so those are the predictions, and how many after we have still 4 rounds to go. Okay, so let's see the boards, the results. Okay, Jan and Gukish first place and second place +2. Gukish already played Jan. He played Prague. He still has to play Nakamura. And he still has to play Fabiano. Those will be critical games for him. He finished his match versus Vidits. He needs to survive Alireza. Apparently Alireza is a very difficult opponent for him. And then he plays Abbasov. Okay. For Jan, it's the same thing, right? He needs to, but he needs to play Prague, which is tomorrow. And he also needs to play Naka and Fabiano. So, we are coming into the final portion, where the leaders are playing each other. Absolutely critical. Every game now is absolutely critical. So, I haven't seen such a packed candidates. Last candidates was also very exciting, but this is great. I love this tournament. All right, gentlemen, that was the recap of the round. What was it? Round 10. Yep, round 10. And we have a Title Tuesday coming up in about 15 minutes. So the next recap you guys will see probably going to be tomorrow they play, right? So it's going to be after tomorrow. All right. I hope you enjoyed the recap. Okay, fine. Let me see the chats. I know you guys have been wanting me to answer some chats. Let's see. Knight G7 line good. It is supposedly it's playable. It's perfectly fine. Rook G1 Knighter. Okay. You didn't expect Alireza to win candidates, but he was a little surprised how bad this event has been for him. He's been out of practice and he's been blundering stuff. He's been playing well. He has good prep, but his lack of practice and calculation skills actually shows. And he's also getting into a lot of time trouble, precisely for the reason because he didn't have too much practice. Yeah, if you have a lot of practice, your mind works, better, more focused, organized, efficient. Yeah, and you don't waste so much time. In time trouble, anybody can lose. What else? Naka and Fabi both got wins. Love for either one of them to win the whole thing. Okay. Gukish to be the youngest world champ. It is a nice idea, but it's unlikely that Gukish is gonna win the first place in this tournament, to be honest. It is unlikely, to be honest. I think what is gonna happen is that there is a chance that Jan will win for the third time because he's very lucky in this tournament. It's definitely possible, like 75% possible. I'm more rooting for Naka to win. Fabi, okay, it's a given. Yeah, Fabi, if he wins this, nobody's going to be surprised. But the dark horses like Naka, like Gukish, yeah, and Alireza, those were the three guys that I was rooting for. Unfortunately, Alireza is not going to be here competing for the first place. Gukish is on the first place, but I have serious doubts he is going to stay there. And Naka is very close and he's moving up fast. He lost that game in an absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, that game actually proved me that he was a full-time job streamer, right? Yeah, that loss that he had, that was absolutely crazy and unnecessary too. Okay, without that loss, Naka would be now actually +2 with the leaders, but he still got chance because he's very, very strong. Okay. Yeah, his chances are less than Fabiano's, obviously, but that's the people that I'm rooting for. All right. The still challenge he has to beat Dink in the match. Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. Whoever comes out of the storm will likely be favored to do that, given Dink's recent results. Guys, you obviously don't remember history. Guys like Anand and Kramnik, they only played the best chess in the match for defending their title. Obviously winning a lot of millions. They pretty much didn't win any round-robin events during their World Chess Championship. Okay, so for them those tournaments were meaningless. They just wanted to win the World Chess Championship match and prove they're strongest. All right, 100 years ago the move c5 would be condemned. Maybe. The dark square bishop, x-ray, black queen for length. Okay, yeah. Are you gonna play Title Tuesday? Yes, in about 9 minutes. Okay, he wasn't sure about rook b8. What about bishop h7? Okay, that was that game. Instantly with 17 minutes on the clock. Yeah, queen e7, he absolutely missed bishop e5. He just missed bishop e5. Abbasov didn't see bishop e5 at all, okay? in his mind, that's the reason for bishop c7. You trade the bishop, so there is no bishop e5. I'm pretty sure he saw bishop c7, and in his mind, that's what he saw. He traded the bishop, he plays queen e7, and that's what but he plays queen e7, and he forgot to trade the bishop. Okay, that's the mind thing. That's a psychological mind blindness spot. Yeah, that's a blunder. Fabi beating Gukish with black would be nuts. It is very, very possible. No, Fabi is definitely not going to play Petrov. He's going to play something solid, but also with the chance to win. I really doubted it would be a Sicilian. Yeah, Fabi and Sicilians with black, they don't actually go well together. Fabi is fantastic with white Sicilian. Okay, absolutely amazing player with the whites on the white side of the Sicilian, but on the black side, I don't think he has good results there. One of the most painful examples was his last round candidates loss versus Karyakin. If he beats Karyakin, he qualifies for the World Chess Championship, but he lost and Karyakin went on to win the World Chess Championship match versus Magnus. His father was expelled from hall, plus he called police, so too many distractions for... He called police? Oh my god. It sounds like my father in match with the short, yeah? Oh my god. My god. No way, man. Are you serious? Is that really... Oh, Jesus. No. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, but you know what? I agree. I mean, what do you want to do? The arbiter actually should have spoken to Alireza after the game. Yeah. As I said, what do you want to do? Take off the shoes in the middle of the tournament? He's playing for the candidates, you know, for the World Chess Championship match. What shoes are you talking about, man? Like, forget it. Yes, he's walking maybe loud, stomping. Yeah, but he's been doing this already for like 10 rounds, so 9 rounds. Like, you know, people were not complaining before. Like, you know, and then Abbasov is losing the event. And yes, everything gets on his nerves, I understand. He's losing, he's touchy, everything feels like larger than life to him. Yeah, but, you know, you take complaint from the guy in the last place, you know, who gets absolutely touchy about everything, and you go to the person who has a chance, you know, to get back into the tournament to 50%, okay, and you talk to him about the shoots, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely nuts to me, yeah. I wouldn't like that arbiter too, to be honest, okay. All right, I'm not covering women's tournament. Apparently there's some exciting chess. I don't know, man. I'm not a specialist in women's chess, to be honest. Okay, there's a completely different psychology, everything. You know, women's chess is just so different. Okay, I don't even want to begin. All right. So again, those were the predictions, the recap, and I'll see you guys in a few for the title Tuesday. All right. Thank you.